Welcome everyone to the on-demand recording of our presentation on USPS Informed Delivery. This presentation was originally recorded on March 27, 2019 as a lunch and learn, designed to give our listeners the information that they need without taking up too much of their time. In this session, I cover everything you need to know about designing direct mail for a product from the United States Postal Service, the USPS, called Informed Delivery. Informed Delivery is a relatively new customer-facing feature that provides users with a digital preview of their household mail arriving soon. I'm Allison Jensen, and I'm the marketing manager for Compu-Mail. I'm a huge fan of Informed Delivery myself, and I've been signed up as a consumer since our local USPS rep introduced Compu-Mail to the product in 2017. A little bit about us. We work with progressive marketers to increase customer spend by helping them talk to their customers, their donors, and their patrons in a way that their competition isn't. We serve a variety of industries, including retail, education, nonprofit, insurance, casino gaming, financial, and others. Since this is an on-demand recording, I'm not going to go over the housekeeping items, but I'll leave them here for your reference. There were 2 pages for this. Our contact information is available at the end of the presentation, and you're welcome to reach out to me at any time. And I do want to add a final note before I switch to the recording. I had originally allotted about 30 minutes for this presentation, and unfortunately we had an issue with the sound on the live recording that caused a delay, so there's about 20 minutes of content here. But that's everything that I wanted to cover up front, so if you're ready, we'll get started. So what is USPS Informed Delivery? As I said before, it's a preview of the mail that's arriving to your home soon. It gives you secure access to interact with your mail on a dashboard or in your email inbox, and it allows you to track packages, manage deliveries, including leaving instructions or scheduling a redelivery. And you can also set some notifications on that too. So this is really great on a day-to-day level because generally you'll get your email notification first thing in the morning. So that could be either right before you leave for work, or if you check it a little bit later on your lunch break. Either way, you know what to expect when you get home. So it's a great example of direct mail for the digital age. And it's something that people check pretty much every day. So it takes that, mail that they're checking every day, something that they might not always check, email, how many emails have you gone through and just deleted without really opening them. But it combines these two into something that people do check every day or almost every day. Unfortunately, though, this is only currently a B2C product, as it can't really distinguish the different recipients of business mail. But this could still work for you for B2B if you were mailing to, business owners at their home or something like that. So hopefully you're able to see the graphic here. This is a screenshot of one of my own informed delivery notifications from Monday morning, March 25th. I just put a gray block over my address, and then I also included what the original piece looks like for the reference before the address was on there. So this is a really cool example of where informed delivery actually was able to work for a B2B campaign because we included several of our employees on the seed list using some of our home addresses for an internal test that we were running. So a little bit of background about this campaign. We did an internal campaign targeted to agencies. We mailed the piece first class on Thursday, March 21st, which we knew generally means that the local addresses will receive it probably over the weekend. And when I left for work on Monday, I hadn't seen it in my physical mailbox yet, but as I was checking my informed delivery email notification on my way out the door, I did see that the piece was included in that email, so I knew that it would be delivered later that day. So as a marketer, it was really great because I knew exactly how long the piece took to mail and deliver, and I knew that the sales representative that we mailed this for could start calling some of the local businesses on that mailing list to see if they'd received the piece yet. And as a consumer, it was just great to know that it had been delivered, so I didn't have to wonder about, whether or not it was there and check obsessively for it and keep checking for it every single day to see when it was going to be there. So now we're going to spend some time talking about what marketers should be thinking about when designing their direct mail for informed delivery. And this is really important because whether you realize it or not, and whether you're upgrading campaigns to the interactive campaigns or not, your campaigns are already on informed delivery no matter what. So even if you aren't taking advantage of the full color, representative, or ride-along images, every piece of marketing mail that you send is currently being scanned and uploaded as a grayscale image for informed delivery every single day. So it's important to make sure that your mail is ready for this. Whatever the side that the mailing panel is on, this is what's going to show in the notification. So as you saw on the screenshot that I just had, it's the entire mailing panel side. And this is kind of the fold of the email notification, like you might think about a fold for a website. So you want to make sure all the important information is up front on this mailing panel side. So we recommend making sure that your logo is prominently displayed on the side. A good placement for this is, with the return address, so the recipient knows who the piece is coming from. And we also recommend placing a variable component on the side, even if something, as simple as addressing them by name in the offer, anything to catch their attention. And then to keep their attention on the notification, you'll want to include the offer on the side as well. So as they're scanning their emails, they can see, I could see Allison, take 20% off, X retailer or whatever. And then I know, okay, cool, when I get home, my coupon will be there. So this helps in two different ways. It gives people a reason to be excited to check the mail later, and it also gives them an extra touch point to remember the message days or weeks later too. So you may also want to think about what the piece is going to look like when it's scanned. So vibrant colors are great for getting attention in the physical mailbox, but they could risk looking messy or chaotic when they scan. So I pulled a couple examples of some mock pieces that we created. We normally just use these, Compu-Mail clothing, Compu-Mail tire company pieces to show off our print quality. But here, I just did a quick mock-up to show what a mail piece might look like when it's scanned and turned grayscale. So for this fake retailer, Compu-Mail clothing company, they display the logo, they display images of the product, they have a map of the nearest location, they have the first name personalization down here, special offer for William. They have the offer, save 15%, and then they have the website down here as well. So that's all on the mailing panel side. So when it's scanned as a grayscale, it might look something a little bit like this, and this was just scanned on the copier, so it's not going to be exactly what the piece will look like in the notification. But that's just kind of how it might translate from the full color version to the grayscale version. And this piece was created before informed delivery started really gaining traction, but it does follow some of the best practices that I was mentioning. So if a retailer were to use this template on a live piece, they would certainly catch attention in the informed delivery notification. So here's another example and where you might want to be just a little bit more cautious. In this case, for the fictional Compu-Mail tire company, there's a logo, there's some product offers, there's the website, all on that mailing panel side. But they, this fake tire company might want to be a little bit cautious about the use of red. So it works here because you can still see, even though the red scans to a dark gray, you can still see the text for the most part. But it does get very dark once it's scanned. So, that's just one of those things that if you have a lot of, blocks of color or vibrant colors like red, you just want to think about what they're going to look like once they're translated over to a grayscale. So now we're going to spend some time covering what you should be thinking about when creating the full color informed delivery notifications or the interactive campaigns. So color notifications are typically moved to the top of the email, giving your piece higher preference among some of the other pieces. The use of color is also great for capturing and keeping attention. And there's two schools of thought for upgrading your marketing mail to include the color images in informed delivery. So the first school of thought, and the one that we typically recommend, is to keep the grayscale image as the representative image, which I'll show you some examples in a second. And then create a separate, smaller banner ad with just your logo and your offer to go with it. The other school of thought is to replace the grayscale with an entirely new representative image, and this is fine too. It definitely works, but when you keep the grayscale and you add a splash of color by just having that little, that small ride-along image with, logo, offer, whatever, it helps with the image recall. So the recipient might be more likely to remember the piece better if they've seen the exact piece in two different places, via email and then later in their hands from their mailbox. So either way, when you upgrade your campaigns, you're able to place the offer link here to allow users to interact right from their informed delivery notification without having to actually wait for the physical piece. So like I said earlier, if I receive a retail offer and it says, Allison, take 20%, that retailer could put a link on there to take me exactly to a product page or a purchase page where I can, make a purchase right from my informed delivery notification without having to go home, get the piece, type in the landing page and things like that. So Informed delivery this way, it's not something that the USPS is currently charging for. It's a free service by them, but you do want to keep in mind that there will generally be a fee from your service provider to set up the creative for the full color image. And it really depends on the complexity of the piece as well. So again, it could be as simple as your logo, but as you add the complexity to it, the cost certainly goes up from your service provider. But again, not something that the USPS is charging for. And that being said, I mean, they're not charging for it now. I'm sure they will in the future. So this is definitely the time to get started with it while it's still a relatively low cost. So here's a couple examples of different ways you can set the campaign up. So like I said, you can do, you can keep the grayscale image of the actual piece, and then you could just add a little splash of color down here. Or you could create an entirely new representative image, kind of related to the piece, but it doesn't have to look like it. Just two different ways to add color to these notifications to get your message to stand out. So these images right here, this is from a USPS presentation. This is not my own content, but it's just different ways that you can leverage the grayscale or leverage the color to capture attention. So here is a breakdown of informed delivery users in the US. Like I said earlier, it's something that, email-enabled users, we have about 11 million in the US. Registered users, 15 million, and registered households, 13 million. So it's definitely something that's gaining popularity, but there's so much more potential for people to be signing up for this. I know the post office is kind of doing more of a word of mouth campaign right now. So they're presenting it to service providers like Compu-Mail. We're signing up for it as consumers. We're telling our friends to sign up. That's kind of the approach that they're taking right now is getting people to sign up and getting them to refer their friends versus doing an actual like a more structured marketing plan for that. So I would say in the next few years, this is something that I think will definitely really take off. So now we'll take a look at the response rate that informed delivery is getting. So if we take a look here at this little screenshot, another thing I pulled from a USPS presentation, 89% of users are satisfied or very satisfied with informed delivery, and 93% of them would recommend it to their friends, their family, their colleagues. Most users are looking at the notifications on their mobile. That's 61% for that device. 30% of people are looking at it from their computer or their laptop, and 8% are looking at it from a tablet. And the time of day for viewing, 82% are looking at it in the morning. Like I said, they're typically there by generally 8 o'clock every morning. It's very rare that it's later than 8. But 16% are looking at it in the afternoon, maybe on their lunch break, and then 2% in the evening when they get home. And I don't think I have any new stats that I can share right now, but I want to say it was when people were asked if they checked it every day or almost every day, it was like 80% of people were doing that. When you think about it, you think about marketing emails, how many people are checking, how often do you get an 80% response rate on your email? This is just something that's just totally new. People love it. They trust the postal service. They trust these emails, and it's something that they look forward to looking at every single day. So now I'm going to take a look at a couple case studies of Compu-Mail customers that have used informed delivery. We have two different ways that we can do it. We can just do it right directly through the post office, or we can integrate it with one of our OmniDM campaigns. I won't get into OmniDM today, but if you have any questions about that, you want to learn more, let me know afterwards. But the first case study is a nonprofit organization in the area. We sent about 1,800 mail pieces, and there were a little over 1,200 emails sent. So not every single person on the mailing, not every single mail piece is going to match up to an informed delivery user, but 1,200 people were reached with that informed delivery touch point. So of that, 876 emails were opened, which is an open rate of about 69%. 14 were clicked, which is 0.75%. We also did 2 campaigns for the university. So these 2 campaigns are for the same university. We sent 5,000 pieces each time, which matched up to 255 emails for informed delivery users. And with the first one, there was 144 opens, which was about 56.5%. Didn't have any clicks on that one, but when we sent the next piece, we had 158 email opens for 62%, and then we had 3 email clicks for 1.2%. So when you think about, those response rates again, I mean, a 1% email open rate, or click rate rather, an email click rate of 1% is usually pretty good. So, being kind of right there, a little bit lower for the nonprofit and a little bit higher for the university, just shows again that impact of informed delivery. So as I start to wrap up the presentation, I want to give my own testimonial about the product. I mentioned this earlier at the beginning, but I've been signed up for it since 2017, and I check my email every single day before I go to work, and I talk about it to everybody that I know. The greatest benefit for me as a consumer, is that it allows me to know when my important mail is being delivered. So I'll give you a couple examples. I placed a couple online orders before I went on vacation at the beginning of March, and I received a notification when my tea order from David's Tea was delivered. So if for any reason, it didn't get picked up or it wasn't in the mailroom when I got back, I could ask my building supervisor if he had picked it up, or, we could check our security cameras to see if anyone, took it for whatever reason. So I had complete peace of mind when I was on vacation that I knew when my order was there and I knew that it would be, there when I got home. So another great example is when my new vehicle registration sticker came in this week. I could tell from my informed delivery notification, it would be in the mailbox Monday night. So I could arrange to get the mail when I get home and replace that sticker, that night before I went out to dinner. Well, it was still light out, so I wasn't trying to replace it in the dark, like when I got back from dinner or anything like that. So if you want to see how this all works for yourself, I highly recommend that you go and sign up as a consumer. I don't know if you have the ability to do this right now or if you'll have to wait until you get home tonight, but please consider doing this as soon as possible. Like I said, I talk about this to everybody I know. I'm constantly pulling up my notifications and showing them. As a consumer, I think it's so cool, and as a marketer, I just think that there's so much potential there to use it, and I think it's really helpful if you see what those notifications look like on your end. So I included a link right here that will take you to the registration form. So you'll just fill out a few questions to get started, and I promise everyone that signs up for it, loves it as much as I do. And what's really interesting is when you're signed up for it, you can see that not many marketers are using those color images yet, and there's so much potential for it. There's so much ability to be noticed in the inbox. So when you can see it for yourself, it's really powerful. So if you're interested in learning more about informed delivery, you can always contact us. We'll be sending out copies of these 2 white papers here, 3 Ways Direct Mail Works for the Digital Age and Direct Mail 101, Tips for Designing an Effective Postcard. They have some really great tips about designing your direct mail that lend themselves well to thinking about how to design it for informed delivery as well. The tips that we give on designing a postcard pretty much are the same tips that we give for informed delivery. So the Direct Mail 101 definitely has a lot of comprehensive information on there. So, and if anyone needs help coordinating any of your direct mail campaigns, we're here for you. For those of you that may not be familiar with us, we're a full-service mail service provider. We work closely with the United States Postal Service to ensure that you're getting the best postage rates on your mail. Our focus here is delivering quality print and mail solutions, and our expertise in various disciplines of direct marketing might provide a valuable solution to simplify your campaigns. And we hope that you find as much value in this as we do. One last thing that I do want to mention here, I think I briefly touched on this earlier, but informed delivery does have its own USPS postage discount this year, so I'll send out some more information in a follow-up email, but I wanted you to be one of the first to know here. And I think that this promotion, registration probably opens for it soon, and then I think either September or October is when the promotion is actually live. So again, I'll send you out some more information on that, but I did want to just throw that out here now. So with that, we're at our 12:30 mark. So, if you want to jump off, want to go finish your lunch, that's fine. But if you have any questions, feel free to use the chat function. Did I hear a question about the chat function? It's the little, like the little IM, the message thing down in the bottom corner of your screen. I don't know if everyone's screen looks kind of like mine does right now, but it's like the bottom left corner.
We're all talking on the phone too, so we can certainly just have a conversation also.
That's true.
I will tell you, there's a lot of people, everyone that's signed up for this, it changes your behavior from looking and knowing what's in the mailbox at the end of the day. So for me, it's one of the first emails that I open every single day. And if there's something important in there, like a registration sticker or something like that, or a check or whatever it is, that's really comforting to know. Because the USPS is not charging for any of the color items, there's really no incentive not to do that at this point. Any additional click, any additional opportunity, it just seems like a natural piece. And I've also heard that USPS expects that there's going to be somewhere between 25 and 30 million people by the end of the year enrolled in this. So it's just going to continue to grow every year.
Do we have any questions from anyone? Anything you want me to expand on a little bit further or talk about more?
Want to ask that question, Marcy? Do they have them socially?
Nope, I'm sorry. Can you repeat the question? I didn't quite catch it for some reason.
We were just wondering if there was a nonprofit postal rate different than a regular postal rate.
I know that in general, there's a nonprofit rate. Mike Oliver, I don't know if you're still on the call, but you could probably speak to it a little bit more than I could. But there's definitely a nonprofit rate that's different than your first class or your standard rate.
Yeah, as far as the nonprofit, Mike Oliver here, nonprofit rate is concerned, there's some paperwork to fill out that the USPS has, what they call nonprofit authorization. Once nonprofit authorization has been granted, there is a different tier of postage, the mail standard class, that's been set aside for entities that have received the MPA, significantly less than regular standard class mail. Not sure if that answers the question for you.
Yes, it does. Thank you.
Absolutely, and feel free to reach out to Allison or myself if you would like that documentation or any assistance, either for yourself or a client, in getting nonprofit authorization.
Okay, and if there aren't any more questions, then I'll sign off. Thank you, everybody, so much for joining me today. Have a great rest of your day.